today to announce that the mayor's office and the team of directors have been working on this plan for a week now. All along, we didn't know what to expect. We still don't know what to expect other than 1 to 3 inches overnight and some more additional snow tomorrow. So we're prepared. We can answer questions you have and give you a lot of the details. But again, I want to start off by saying I want to thank the Public Works Department for the outstanding job they've been doing the past couple weeks with the snow events we've had. I've drove around this morning. They're prepared for this event, and we'll have crews begin working later on today. So we're here to, again, at different points we were here in different amounts, and we do have different levels, and we're going to go with a level 2, and Mike Gable can talk a little bit more about what a level 2 storm is. At other points we were looking at level 4 meaning that it was greater than 10 inches. We pretty much would have a state of an emergency in the city of Pittsburgh, but it doesn't appear we're going to get to 10 inches. But if we do, if it does snow more than it's supposed to, we're prepared for it. Number of trucks are available, sufficient amount of rock salts available, and the employees are ready to go. So at this point here, I'm going to turn it over to Mike Gable to give you a lot of the details of what he has planned in Public Works. Okay? Thanks. Thanks, Mike.
Okay, thanks, everybody. I'd like to just go over some points and then maybe open it up for questions if we haven't answered them with our notes here. So, as guys alluded to, this is still a lot of uncertainty about this event. Our weather service to date right now has still not submitted their warning to us. They have only given us an alert, but I did talk to them this morning, and I've got a forecast of between 1 to 3 inches up from 2 to 4 inches. So that's the range they're looking at right now. It is, as they've been saying, probably north of the city, the lower amount, and south and west of the city could be the higher amount of 4 inches. So the fact that we're going to be 4 inches, we're going to go into a level 2 alert. And what that it means is that this storm is predicted to be a 24-hour event from roughly 6 p.m. this evening until 6 p.m. tomorrow. At that point, we have, at level 2, we have 32 hours in which to get to all the streets in the city of Pittsburgh.
32 is after the snow.
After the snow ends, and that would be 2 a.m. in the morning, Monday morning. All right? So the emphasis there is there may be periods where you're not seeing it snowing. That does not mean that the event is over. We're, again, forecasted a 24-hour event. So, we're reaching out to the residents, and hopefully that they can refrain from calling in and giving us the time to work on the streets until the 32 hours is up, and then we can take calls from there. But let me go over a few things. Salt supplies, as a guy alluded to, are in excellent shape. We have 22,000 tons on hand right now. Based on our usage of about 1,000 tons an inch, that's good for 22 inches. Nothing's been forecasted that high, at least not in this area. So we're good on salt, and we have more deliveries coming in today. We have plenty of calcium chloride. We have about 18,000 gallons of calcium chloride. The temperatures are going to be with us early, both today in the morning, early hours, and of course overnight they will dip into the mid-teens, and we are going to instruct our crews to treat our loads starting out right away with liquid calcium chloride in order to make it more effective in the snow removal operation. When it does get to above 3 inches, close to 3 inches, we will be going into entirely plowed mode. So we'll wait and see if we do get that. Obviously, we get 1 or 2, we're not going to be plowing. We'll be basically salting. If we do get the higher amount, we will then go into an entirely plowed mode, getting in order, and go back to a salting mode. We have available to us right now a fleet of 145 vehicles that have both plows and or spreaders, of which right now 133 of those vehicles are available to us. We are expecting more to come online. First Vehicle is working hard to get those vehicles back to us, but we have quite a fleet available to us to do fight the snow, whatever does come. First Vehicle services, in addition to our heavy equipment office or division, the mechanics will have mechanics on 12-hour shifts to be able to take care of any equipment that goes down so we can get it back on the road as quick as possible. Additionally, not knowing the extent or the depth of the snow, if we do get the larger snow, we've had contractors on contract to us that have high lifts, dump trucks, front-end loaders, skid steers. Those types of equipment are available to us at our beck and call to be able to deploy them to the streets if we do need them later on down the road. In addition, again, if we do get a larger snow event, there's a likelihood that we could have downed trees, and so we want our forestry division and our contractors under contract with us, tree companies, are alerted and on call, ready to go also. Refuse collection is on for Saturday. In fact, a lot of people, as you know, put their refuse out a day in advance. So we're actually picking some of Saturday's up right today on Friday. And what we don't get to on Saturday, we will get on Monday or Tuesday when the other routes, they will make runs to those areas to pick that up. So we feel pretty confident. We don't want our workers to be put in any kind of jeopardy going down some of the alleys and not being able to get out. They will put themselves in a good place, get the rubbish, and they will get it on Monday or Tuesday, whatever they don't get on Saturday. So we want the residents to know we will get their refuse. We are going to put our crews on 12-hour shifts starting at 6 o'clock tonight, and we'll take it through 12-hour shifts. Right now, we've got plans for the first 24 hours. We'll wait and see how we are out there, and then we'll decide in terms of number of crews and equipment for the next 24-hour period until we can hand this off to our regularly scheduled night shift, which will come in on Sunday night. We'll bring them in early at 6 o'clock. And if EOC is opened in the event of a larger snow event, DPW is just a player at that. That's handled by public safety, but we will certainly have staff there on 12-hour shifts as long as EOC is open. I have other comments, but I'll answer questions. We'll answer questions or anything a guy wants to.
Right, I just want to go over a couple more things. You know, this whole week we've been planning for the worst. Keep it saying we've been planning for the worst and hoping for the best. When we said the worst, we were talking about having a state of emergency, but also having warming centers available and centers available in the event there's, you know, large power outages. We do have warming centers and centers available if needed. Folks who are on standby, if comes tomorrow, they're needed, they'll be able to open up really quickly. But one thing we do got to remind folks is typically in a 1 to 3 inch snowstorm, when you do salting, you don't have plows on the trucks. Plows are on the trucks right now, so therefore it means beginning tonight, every salt truck that's out there is going to have a plow, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult to maneuver the city streets. So we're going to ask folks to be careful how they park on especially residential streets. Don't park too close to the corner. Don't park sticking out because it makes it very difficult for us to get to the streets with the plows on there. The plows can always be removed, but again, we're preparing for much more than the 1 to 3 inches overnight, so we do have the plows. And also, you know, it takes a good 32 hours for us to hit every street in the city of Pittsburgh after, I can be real clear, after it stops snowing. So if folks live on some side streets and concerned with getting about, you know, we're going to suggest they drive to the closest primary route. Primary routes are actually treated first, and we go to our secondary routes, and last but not least, into our tertiary routes. So, you know, we recommend that they move their car to a primary route so that they're able to get in and out. Again, it's a 24-hour event. We're ready to go. And so but I did want to mention about, Mike talked about refuse. The reason we're collecting refuse on Saturday is this week we had a holiday on Monday and every day was pushed back. So what we normally pick up on a Friday, that's pushed back till tomorrow. So probably some people already put their trash out today, not realize it was a holiday. We'll pick that up today, but tomorrow our crews will be out there and they'll work as long as they have to. Whatever they can't get picked up tomorrow, we want to remind folks that crews will be picking it up on Monday. So again, we do ask folks for patience. We've looked at everything. The Emergency Operations Center, if that opens, that will be the county's call. If the county does open it, we, along with various departments, including public safety, will be manning the facilities during the duration of the event. So we do have, worst case scenario, 300 cots available if they're needed. Like I said, warming centers available. So everyone has been working diligently on this plan, and I want to thank them personally for everything they've done. So now it's in Mother Nature's court, and we'll have to see what happens, and we'll answer any questions that you may have.
We've heard so much about gradient. I think we're all learning what it means, the fact that we could have almost nothing in the north and somebody gets hit in the south. Is the city capable and flexible enough to move northern resources on the northern edge of the city to the south? I mean, do you have that kind of flexibility, or do they all stay within?
Right now, they stay within their divisions, John, because they're very familiar with the division because they're working off of a paper route system. By next winter, we're going to have a GPS system, meaning that you can go from one division to the other. That's personnel. Equipment will be moved. Yes, heavy equipment will be moved to the various facilities where they're needed. A lot of trucks will be moved to another division, but it's really the personnel will stay within the division until we get the modernized equipment. So we'll modernize GPS system. But yeah, it can be done. done. And it's kind of weird. I think one we saw, Mike, where it was the north side would get nothing and city would get maybe an inch, and then south side would get 3 inches. So again, we're just right on the fringe. We don't know what to expect, but my guess is, if I'm a betting man, I'm going with 3 to 5 inches based on everything that I've been seeing. But again, we're prepared, and we ask folks to be patient with us. And while it's snowing, we'll be out there treating the roads and plowing the roads, but it may get wet, but as the snow accumulates, it becomes snow covered again until the snow actually stops and has time to melt. So one good thing we have in our favor is the temperatures aren't going to single-digit numbers. Rock salt is effective up until 17 degrees. Less than 17 degrees, it starts losing its effectiveness. But we're looking at coldest temperatures for tonight and tomorrow, maybe 15 degrees. But we are going to go with the liquid calcium tonight to enhance the rock salt and also prevent a bond from snow and ice building up onto the roadway.
I would just like to add a couple things on that, John, is that we're not actually deploying them right now. We will if we need to, but we have specialty divisions that don't normally see snow operations, and they have an alignment with a lot of our maintenance divisions. So again, when it comes necessary to bring them into the equation, we can do that. We have an awful lot of small equipment, tractors and snow blowers and things like that we can also deploy. I mean, they can be used on streets, sidewalks, whatever the case may be. So we have a lot of equipment. We're just right now, we don't need to really bring all those resources in, but if the case allows and we have to, we have the means to do that.
Does the hockey game put any extra pressure on you?
Well, I mean, we're aware that it's going to bring people into the city, and we're certainly, I think that them coming in are going to be on primary routes, of course, state routes, county roads, and city roads, and those roads will certainly be, we'll do our best to get them as treated as best as possible for them to get safely in and out of the hockey game.
Yeah, and for the hockey game, John, as any major event in the city of Pittsburgh, we'll have the resources in that area to make sure the streets are open for folks to get into the Consol Energy Center. Again, we can control what's within inside the city. The interstates, that's a different story there. But we're confident that we can have crew. We'll have a crew in downtown to make sure Grant Street's open for folks to get to and from the hockey game. But just if there's any major event in the city of Pittsburgh, and afterwards to make sure that folks can get out of the hockey game and go about. So again, we should have sufficient time. I think it's an afternoon game, which is better for us than a night game. The reason I say that is an afternoon game, even though the sun's not out, daylight's out there, and that helps our efforts. It helps melt the snow. The temperatures are warmer, and it's easy for traffic to get around. Once the sun goes down, then it's a different story.
I think the bigger question is, are they going to be able to play in Washington on Sunday? That's the bigger question. So that's their problem. So
you had a pretty big water main breakdown at Potomac and Banksville this morning. You've got one down the strip. Obviously, you don't have to worry about anything other than that at the moment. Would that really complicate issues if this sort of trend continues?
It's going to continue because of the cold temperatures. We had a lot of water breaks this past week. PWSA has done a great job with responding to them. The Potomac one, I believe that might be Pennsylvania American, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they're making a repair there. There are a number of water main breaks, and what we'll have to do is get PWSA out on the scene as quickly as possible to get the water turned off and then schedule a repair. But in the meantime, if there are water breaks, Mike's people per division will know where they are and pay special attention to them. Naturally, this past week we had a number of breaks, and it was constantly water coming up, freezing. They had to constantly plow it and salt it, but we'll have to do the same with the water breaks. Yes. But I think you may see them ease up with the warmer temperatures. The colder it gets, naturally, the more lines to break. Any more questions?
Well, go back to what you said earlier, Mike, about giving you guys 32 hours.
Yes.
Not call. I mean, if your street's a mess in front of your house and you're frustrated, you want to yell at somebody. What does that do to you when people don't give you enough time?
Well, I mean, the calls come in and telling us that their street hasn't been salted and it's snowing, and we know all that. We know that through the snowplow tracker. There is a routing system. They just need to be patient. We are going to get around to it. I mean, as I said, depending on when snow occurs, whether it's the rush hours or middle of the night, those are all different circumstances. You asked me the other day, is it better on a weekend? There's good and bad. There's good in the sense that there's not as much traffic out on the weekend, and that's part of one of my things or comments I was going to just say that, we've been telling people, if you don't have to drive, don't go anywhere. Stay in your house. Like I said last year, watch TV, watch a movie, bond with your family, read a book. Give us the opportunity to get the streets and the access we need, the state, the county, and the city, to open these streets up, get the material down, and make it safe for them on Sunday and hopefully on Monday for them to get into work. If they do that, we know it's snowing. We know that some of the streets have, but every street cannot be done at the immediate first moment. It's going to take a certain amount of time to get to it, especially as it's snowing through the day. But as soon as the snow ends, we're going to ramp up our forces in terms of getting the trucks out there for plowing and salting, and you're going to see a big difference. So.
Yeah, and John, we've looked at this scenario, and again, the resources that we have, this is how long we have to get every street in the city. Chances are we can be done sooner. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, based on the storm that came in on Wednesday during rush hour, Mike's people had till 9 p.m. last night to get every street, every route done. I think they were done by 2 p.m., so they had it less than 24 hours. So it all depends on it. So what we're trying to say is they follow a routing system. They got to follow the routing system. We can't be jumping from here to here because someone wants their street salted. I know everyone wants to be first, and Mike and I were just saying we have 1,200 miles of streets in the city of Pittsburgh. That's like driving from here to Miami Beach. That's a lot of streets to cover. So everyone can't be first. Again, we ask for patience. Again, we concentrate on our primary routes, and then we go into our secondary routes, and then last we go into our tertiary routes, which are alleys and dead ends, streets that are very rarely used. And I understand that they're very important to the residents who are on those streets, but we're not miracle workers. The crews are out there, and we do know that we need X amount of hours. Again, if it's 1 to 3 inches we'll be done in 24 hours. But if we get the 3 to 5 or whatever, it's going to take a little bit longer. If it's 10 inches or more, we may be looking at giving us till Monday or Tuesday to get every street open. So right now, we're preparing for different scenarios, and as this event occurs, I know I've been watching the Weather Channel all morning. As you all, things can change. The southern flow can come up and push up, and we can get crushed. We don't know that, so again, we're prepared for the worst and hoping for the best. But people need to be patient, not only with us, they need to be patient with PennDOT and every local municipality in the region, because it's going to take some time, and it's going to be a great effort. But again, everyone's going to do the best they can. No more questions. Well, we want to.
I have just a couple comments since we have the attention here. This is for me a request of the residents and businesses and the contractors that do snow removal on private properties in the city. As I said earlier, everybody's been warning, if you don't have to drive this weekend, find a reason to stay maybe at your house, give the opportunity to the crews to be able to get to the streets and do the job that they need to do to make it better for you so it's safer to drive out there. In terms of removing snow off your vehicles or off your sidewalks, again, not to put it into the street, put it in front or rear of your car or on your property. Putting it back into this road is only going to complicate things for us after we've already salted and you put more material back in the street. And to the contractors who do the plowing out of private properties, not to push it into the street, to keep it on that property. Again, all these things have occurred over time. We'll go down and do a street, we'll salt it, and it'll be clear. And next time we come back, we see everybody's throwing salt or snow out onto the road, and the contractors pushing snow out on the road. So the more they are able to work with us, the better we're going to be able to get the streets back in shape quicker. Yeah. Thank you.
Good. One thing I want to mention is if anything changes, Katie O'Malley, Katie, you want to stand up so everyone knows you? You'll send out updates. You'll be sending out over the course of the weekend. If there's any media updates, Katie will be sending those out to you. If there's any media requests, feel free to call Katie, and Katie will work with Mike and I to work with you. But we'll keep you abreast of what's going on. But right now, this is our game plan: 1 to 3 inches overnight. Crews beginning at 6 p.m. This evening, working 12-hour shifts for the duration of the event. Again, we'll know more about tomorrow later today. So again. The efforts are out there, and we'll be out there to make it a safe event. The other thing too is we don't really we don't see these type of storms that often, so we really ask for a lot of patience for folks. Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, very good.
Thank you all.
Thank you.